We are big Ohio State fans here in the Lego basement, and this week we wanted to say go Buckeyes. We also wanted to take an opportunity to fill this big hole we have on our wall. What you're seeing here is a base that is going to be 25 inches square. That's 80 Lego studs square. And what we're doing here too, the color doesn't really matter because this is the underside of this display. So just kind of grabbing whatever pieces we have. That's why there's a mix of yellows and grays and reds here. In fact, some of these gray pieces you're seeing going on right here is actually the old gray that I've had these pieces sitting around for maybe like 20 years. I haven't used in anything, but this is a perfect use for them. So now we've fused all those white plates together and turned it over, and this is where the fun really starts, where we started to get into this build. There are no really fancy pieces being used here, basically just a bunch of light bluish gray plates and a bunch of red plates that I've had sitting around for a while in bins that aren't really being used for anything else. The real trick here, and I did this off camera, it's kind of hard to explain, but it was kind of creating a grid to kind of go off this to make this pattern. I just grabbed an Ohio map and put a grid on top of it that was 80 by 80 and figured out where the center was, and then really just started throwing plates down and figuring out the shape as we went. So this stop motion looks pretty slick here, but really behind the scenes, it was a little bit more of a stop and go, and there were a couple times I had to go back and edit a few places. So there we have it, an Ohio map with the Ohio State O, and I had built a couple hooks into the design, so it hooks on a couple nails I'd already had on the wall there. Looks pretty good, but I think there's something missing. So we're gonna add a little bit something here. I just grab a bunch of green pieces. And again, this looks a little more slick than it actually was. It took me a little while to perfect this design. But everybody knows that Ohio State is the Buckeyes, so I figured, why don't we add some Buckeye leaves? And you'll see in a minute some Buckeye nuts to this design. Just kind of add a little bit of flavor, and there's a big spot there on the bottom right. The challenge here was I don't have a lot of the pieces you might need for something like this in green, so it was a little bit of a challenge. But it did come together pretty good, I thought, in the end. Now we got the leaves together, now a couple Buckeyes, and these are pretty simple, really, just kind of the dark brown round pieces, and then the little eye of the Buckeye there with that little 1x1, and we put our little makeshift Buckeyes up on the display. And a couple little pins underneath each leaf to connect it to the display, and arranging them so they look like they're in good places, and there we go. I think it looks pretty good there up on the wall. Go Buckeyes.